All right, Penny here is frustrated. She is in her 30s. You're in your 30s also, maybe. And these relationships with friendships are supposed to get easier, I think, in your 30s, but not for Penny. There's too much drama. Hey, Penny.
Good morning. How are y'all?
Good. Thank you for calling. Okay, so what is the problem?
So I guess my main question is, how many 8-year friendships does the average person lose by the time that they're in their 30s?
The average friendships you lose while you're in your 30s. Okay, where are you coming from on this?
So I'm not just talking about, you graduated high school, but I'm saying ended just poorly. I'm trying to do some, introspective work to see if maybe I'm the problem in a current situation. So I have this recent ex-friendship. I'm talking 20-year friendship. We went on vacations together, holidays, everything. I mean, talked every single day. And over the years, she has made some pretty judgmental comments on my past, comments on my appearance, how I raised my kid, etc. I've brought it up before that it hurt. It stopped for a while, but eventually creeps back in to each time we're together, something negative to say. But what sent me over the edge was her accusing me of stealing her dream baby name for the pregnancy I'm currently having.
Okay. All right. So are you specifically talking about this relationship? Are there past relationships that you're finding now there's a pattern that in your 30s, there's just more drama than you had anticipated? Or are we specifically talking about this case here?
And I want to know the baby name.
And if you stole
I can't
it.
share that.
Okay.
Hey, now, I'll give you more details on that, but I guess specifically, am I the problem? I guess that's what I'm asking. So, back probably 3 or 4 years ago when we were both pregnant with our first, we were going over dream baby names for either gender. And it just so happened that she brought up a name for a girl, and neither of us were having girls. Well, I was like, wow, I really like that name so much. I think that's a great name, but I couldn't really pinpoint why I liked that name so much. So I went home, we were talking to my husband, going over names again, and he brought up that exact name. And I said, oh, that's what my friend said her dream baby name was too. That's why I remembered I liked it so much, because you had brought it up in recent conversations. It's just not a common name, so, not necessarily going to remember, especially with having pregnancy brain, right? So we both had our kids. Neither of us got to use that name. Well, now I'm pregnant, and I am with the gender that we both originally wanted but didn't get. And I shared with her that we will be naming our baby that name that we had discussed. And at first I tried to smooth things out, saying, I think it'd be kind of funny that we would both be sharing the same name, potentially, because she's not currently pregnant.
It's not funny.
Yeah. But then she got possessive and almost demanding that, how dare I use that name? Well, I reminded her multiple times that during all of this back and forth, that was a dream name that my partner's had since 2014. I just happened to forget it the very first conversation we had. But the conversation we had shortly after that, initially, again, multiple years ago, I said, well, I remembered why I liked that name so much. It's because that's the name my partner liked for that gender. Well, I had forgotten about that. Daggum, that was multiple years ago, right? So then she told me I was being hormonal due to pregnancy, and that's really the problem here. And I'm a pretty level-headed person, pregnancy or not. I have multiple friends that have confirmed that I've liked that name over the years, with me and my partner discussing the names. And she's not even currently pregnant. And, she might not ever get that, blessing of the gender that she wants. I hope she does. I hope her heart is fulfilled with that, but she may never use it. So basically, I want someone's opinion who's not directly involved.
So this is like an etiquette felony, right?
Well, here's the problem. It is an etiquette felony, but this one's more complicated because that was also her husband's name. It's not just her husband, that was his dream name for the baby. Two people can want the same name for their kid. That's why there's like a bajillion Jameses out there, right? So believe it or not, I'm siding with you. I think she's very attached to the name. I don't blame her for being upset. But yeah, if this was also your husband's dream baby name for a girl, then you are very entitled to use the name.
I understand where you're coming from. but I see why your friend is upset.
Yeah.
Because perception is reality, and ultimately, you just didn't mention it. Two things can very well be true, but if I'm in her shoes and you never mentioned that was his dream name, and I did mention it, and then now next thing I know you're taking it, I would certainly feel the way. I understand where your friend is coming from.
Yeah, I totally agree with Mo here, because I think it's really hard to have a situation where you're dealing with somebody's feelings because you feel like she just shouldn't feel that way because of your history with this name. But from her side, what it looks like is that you heard that name from her and then took that name, which you know didn't happen, but in her mind, that's what's going on. So when you deal with this conflict with her, you have to take it from the perspective of how she's seeing it, and she feels like this is a calculated move on your part. Even though it's not, you still need to treat the conflict that way.
I've got a separate opinion here that might not be popular. Is it a big deal? Like,
Yes.
the
name of your
Yeah,
child.
like as a guy, if somebody came and told me that their best friend was going to have the same name as our kid, I wouldn't even think twice about it.
We
honestly.
don't care, but for women,
Yeah,
it's
that's
a
what I'm
big deal.
saying.
Yeah, men, yeah,
Especially if it's a unique name that you've been like, and it's just like being able to use it first, and then if your friend uses it, then you use it. You look like you stole it, but you want the credit because that was your name. Yeah, it's
It's a
what a landing.
and that's your verdict right there. So,
The Bert Show.